Starting things off over here for JINAIR Green Wings. It's true. This is his very first time playing this season. He had a relatively unsuccessful season last season with 14 and 28 being his win ratio. So definitely wants to switch things up this season and go into the positives.
Yeah, hopefully he's been back in Team House and really practicing his heart out. I mean, he's being put out here for a reason, especially against SKT1. Maybe been practicing on this map a ton. But here's this guy, the guy he's playing against, Fantasy. Look at that. Look at that total wins and total loss ratio there. 164 to 109. He has not played so far in 2014, but that's going to change today.
Yeah, it is. He had a decent showing at Code A, but it wasn't enough to get him to Code S. He is the terrorist Terran, someone who's so dangerous if you give him any opening, any opportunity. The big question for me is, do we see Mech or do we see Bio on this map? There's one of those SK Telecom T1 signs I was talking about earlier. Big fan. And the atmosphere is tense. Both teams loving fans, screaming and cheering and shouting. And I feel online the same is true. There are JINAIR Green Wings and SK Telecom T1 fans right now tensely waiting. What is Fantasy going to do? Because he really sets the pace in this match. Will he Mech? Will he Bio? And is this experienced player in his very first Pro League match going to be true? Or is true? Also, this is his very first match in 2014. Going to do an upset here. Let's find out right now on Star Station.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom right, for JINAIR, the Zerg, this is true.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't wrong.
Fantasy in the blue to the top left. A very scary opponent to have to face for true. Again, as a Zerg player, you are always the one who has to react to the Terran's playstyle. If say Fantasy goes for Mech play, you're the one who has to switch your composition in order to deal with that. If the Terran goes for two barracks proxy in the middle of the map, you have to respond to that. It's hard for the Zerg player to be the one who sets the pace in the game. We saw Sulky attempt to by putting some very aggressive roach pressure on him. We've seen early pools come down from time to time on two-player maps for a Zerg player to try to set the pace of the game. But usually, it's the Terran player who dictates the style, and the Zerg is constantly trying to keep up until the mid-game where the Zerg can take a lead and then control the map. But until then, it's a waiting game, it's a reactionary game, and Fantasy really gets to pick how the game starts.
Yeah, that's very well said, because you can notice even in our casting, before the game starts, we're like, is he going to Mech? Is he going to Bio? What's Fantasy going to do? And usually, after we see what the Terran does, we then commentate about what the Zerg could do in response to that. Is he going to get the roaches out? Is he going to get the swarm host? Is he going to go mutas? What exactly is he going to do? What composition is the Zerg going to do in response to what the Terran is doing?
Well, it is going to be a hatchery first, as is the way of Zerg versus Terran. And the Reaper will come out for Fantasy to get some scouting information. He wants to find out how much gas has been mined so that he gets to know himself, are you going to be aggressive with roaches, just like we saw earlier from Sulky, or are you going to just play a more passive game, wait until you see what I'm doing before you do anything on your own? Reaper gets started here. SCV goes down to the bottom of the ramp for a moment and then comes back. I'm going to get some extra mining. I think he was considering sending the SCV around to scout, but at this timing to scout, it's a little bit late. And by the time the SCV is almost there, the Reaper would have arrived, so it's kind of redundant to send the SCV scout, so he's just going to get extra mining instead.
Yeah, he's going to send that SCV around right now, probably to drop that CC after this Reaper gets out.
Yep.
Yeah, here he goes.
We grab those minerals first, and again, with this build opening that we see from Fantasy, you can still go Bio. We saw Terran players opening with this build every single game, no matter what style they pick, because it's still the safest opening. Because if it's an early pool, you have the Reaper out to defend, and as long as you have a tight wall, you can just micro the Reaper against the early Zerglings. If you get in there and see a ton of gas being mined, or you see Baneling Nest or some sort of crazy all-in coming out, you can respond to that. And it can also protect your SCV building the command center against some early Zerglings, like the pool first opening before hatchery, where those Zerglings come over to try to shut that down.
Yeah, definitely the safest ability is going to have this Reaper in here just be annoying. Queen's going to pop out soon enough to deflect this off. Doesn't want to lose too much. So far, I think he has just lost one Zergling.
Yeah, one Zergling going down, and several units getting very low, but he's not losing them with good micro. And what Fantasy is able to observe here also is he clicks on the gas, sees that exactly 100 minerals or 100 gas is mined there, so he drops the speed. No drones mining, no additional gas mining coming up, so he knows, okay, not a fast timing coming my way. I'm very safe here. And at the same time, he's going to have extra resources in minerals, so he will have a lot of queens. So just all of these little things that Fantasy is able to identify are really, really important for him going forward. He rushes out an armory very quickly, and this almost makes me feel like you're going to see Hellbats very early. What kind of Hellbats is the question, because Hellbat drops fell out of popularity after the patch. We saw them a lot last season in Pro League, that's for sure. And Hellbat timing with Marauders, we don't really see anymore, and he doesn't have any additional barracks being added yet. He wants to deny the Overlord Scout first before he adds anything. And I think it's just going to be a Hellbat drop. He's going to start 2 Hellbats once the armory's done, and he will put them into the medevac. He could maybe even get 2 medevacs of 2 Hellbats each, like we saw in the old days, and just do a 4 Hellbat drop.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I'm not sure if True got a good look at what was in the base and if anything will tip him off to this, but on a map like this, you can definitely abuse this with the dropships, go back and forth between that first and third, and even second base. See those 2 Hellbats coming out, just like you said.
This is really unique. We don't really see this anymore in Heart of the Swarm.
It's definitely unexpected.
First 2 Hellbats will line up with that medevac, and then he can go for a second Hellbat drop if he wants, and he probably will, just to maximize the efficiency. He also has the regular Hellions on the map to, if all of the Zerglings go into the main base when the Hellbat drop occurs there, he can run in with those 4 Hellions to try to get some harassment done. He's actually going with this ground army. He's just going to attack with the medevacs as part of his army. And he can boost in to just attack with any units he chooses to put into the medevac as well once he hits the bases. This is a scary situation for True to deal with because he only has Zerglings. And Zerglings alone are not going to cut it. He wants Banelings and or Roaches, and Roach is going to take way too long. Oh no, he's going to lose an Overlord here as well, potentially. It doesn't look like Fantasy sees the opportunity. It's a little too late.
Oh, he wants to barely pick it off. Is he going to get it? Yes, he is. And this army is so scary. Like you said, he drops that Baneling Nest. He knows he needs to get something out here to defend this. No more Queens going out. He does do a nice scan. He's going to prevent that creep from getting connected to that third.
This is a lot of Zerglings already out for True, though. The Hellbat connections are everything. 2 Hellbats in the medevac right now. Will he go ahead and drop this on the main base? He's considering it. He may also just drop it on top of a pack of Zerglings. He's got them in the medevac. They are protected right now. Just drops them up here at the front lines. And this push here from Fantasy, this timing is so dangerous. Zerglings coming from behind, and the Hellbats making quick work of them, using the medevac to pick up the weakened Hellbats. It's not enough, though, and the Queens look likely to push this back as Fantasy's push is shut down. He's now in an awkward tech position. His 3rd command center is on the way, but it's 3 base against 2 base, and I feel that push was not worth it for Fantasy.
Yeah, it didn't seem too much worth it. The best thing he did was force a lot of units out of True, but now True with those 3 bases up, he has a lot of Queens now. He's going to be able to get that larva production. He immediately starts Aspire as well. He wants to take control of this map.
Now, Spire started here in a funny place. Just barely on the creep, and Fantasy goes into bio. 1-1 upgrade started, Stim as well, starting to add additional barracks. 3rd command center is not only spotted but blocked by creep. That's going to delay him a little bit. Never underestimate a Terran player who has a 3rd CC though. He is behind, but with triple mules and double SV production at both his natural and his 3rd base, along with the SVs he can make from his main command center, he will have the ability to recover, catch up. He's getting double upgrades very quickly. He's going to know that Mutalists are what his opponent throws at him next, so he will be able to respond to that. He needs to get some turrets up relatively soon. He doesn't have to rush that out just yet, but he will need them in a few minutes.
Yeah, he has to be ready for this. That really, like you mentioned before, really wasn't worth it. I mean, he did force a bunch of Zerglings here, which was good, but these Zerglings are going to at least take control of the map for now. They're going to be able to run around, try to deny this 3rd base as long as he possibly could, even with the Overlord, trying to make sure that he's got to move, and Fantasy has to make sure that he has his units over there.
did not actually spot the Spire there, so that's kind of annoying for him. But 8 mutas on the way. Turret's already going. Fantasy knows mutas or what's coming next. He's not going to be expecting like a Nidus network from the lair or you know, fast swarm host. This composition he's built. He knows that mutas are what come next because that's how this matchup is played. Turrets are getting ready. Additional factory being added right now, interestingly enough. So we'll see how much he wants to commit to getting Widow Mines into his composition. Looks like quite a bit, and he will, with the second command center, be able to get the burrow upgrade for the Widow Mines to allow him to burrow faster. Baneling speed, 1-1, +1 for mutas. All of these techs for True are starting to come out here. But he's got a 4th base, and I really like True's position. Fantasy is a little bit stuck. His 3rd base is a little bit delayed. The one thing he's got going for him, though, and any Terran will tell you this is what you need, is his upgrades.
Yeah, he's got the upgrades going, but True is desperately trying to catch up. He has all those upgrades, like you mentioned. Combat shields started for Fantasy as well. He wants to make sure those Marines are as healthy as possible. These mutas are coming in here. The turret is here. He's going to be able to snipe it at first. He's got to get the repair. Does get a nice repair, but he's able to pick off a bunch of these SCVs. He's now going to come out into the 3rd here, but another good missile turret over here, and they're going to be pushed back.
Actually, good splits down mutas. Meanwhile, this attack over here at the 4th base will kill the 4th hatchery, and he knows the mutalists are away, so he can get away with those medevacs. He's going to try for it, and you know, I'm not so sure he's going to be able to escape. This is going to be close. He's got the rest of his units coming over to try to rescue. He needs to start dropping those Marines out. They do, one by one. Drop out, but there's so many Zerlings on the ground. Here come the rest of the Marines, and he's going to be able to chase away the Lings. Banelings, on the other hand, come to join as well. So many speed Banes. That was a tense moment, but he loses 1 medevac. Second one survives with 3 hit points. But killing that 4th hatchery is huge. The defense for him against the mulas was really, really well played as well. And I got to say, if you're True, the position for him is looking a little bit less awesome than it was before because he lost his 4th. He's now double expanding. His upgrades are catching up, but he doesn't have that control over the game that he had anymore, and Fantasy's upgrades are not slowing down either.
Yeah, he's not in a big lead now. He is doing okay. I mean, he's playing Lasolki. He's just going to, you know, I lose a hat, so I'm going to build 2 more, try to get that economy up as well. He did do a good job, even though he did lose that 4th, of getting over there and taking out those medevacs. So far, I don't see any other tech besides these upgrades. He's continuing with the Banes. He's getting +2 for melee and +2 for armor, of course.
Yeah, and again, slightly faster upgrades for Fantasy now. But the Hive is what we need for 3-3. So 3-3 is always going to be done faster for Fantasy because it takes a Zerg player way too long to get those upgrades up. He's never going to get them faster. 1 Marine forces the entire army out of position. And guess what? There's a drop over here. Going to force a cancel on his hatchery potentially. Massive mistake here by True. Having that 1 hotkey mindset. 1 Marine literally turns him all the way around. Then 1 drop turns him all the way around over here. Hatchery goes down. No cancel. He's going to lose his hatchery as well. Fantasy is out microing True. I gotta say, that's one of the most embarrassing things that you can ever have happen to you on cameras is clearly it's that 1 hotkey problem. Every unit on 1 hotkey, 1 Marine draws his whole army away, loses a hatchery for it. Then when the drop goes, just 1 drop, instead of splitting his units, using only enough to defend, he brings his whole army and loses another hatchery for it. And he actually will be able to clean this up, but Fantasy is trying to make it the most cost-inefficient thing for him to do with how he splits these units with the Marines there behind the middle line with Hellbats a tank. And True doesn't even fight it. He's like, oh, no way.
Yeah, True throwing down those 2 hatches again. I mean, like you said before, just really not the best handling of what Fantasy was throwing at him. Fantasy now going to get this 4th base. He's going to have that well protected. Dropping again, trying to get this. He doesn't get it this time, but again, a huge portion of this army coming over here to try to stop this drop. Yeah. While this whole big part of this army is still over here, and he's going to go right down to that other 4th.
That drop that we saw at this base, the 4th here, was not really to kill the base. It was a rescue mission to save the units at the top right. Now he's not only saved them, but will kill this hatchery as well. And I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed with True's multitasking. He's just not able to stop these big obvious move outs from Fantasy, these big obvious fakes. And Brendan, the big problem for Zerg, always the upgrades. 3-3 is started without a second of time between +2-2 finishing and him starting it. 3-3 on the way, no infestation pit, and it looks like True might just try to end the game with this composition. He's building 22 more Banelings right now. +2 for his mutas is done. But Fantasy, if he just holds here, he's going to have a massive lead with those upgrades coming out. And he's got a 4th base up. He's getting the drilling calls for more Widow Mines he can make.
I think True is making the right call here, trying to end the game. He knows he's wasted too much time while this Terran player is now getting a force base up. This planetary, it's going to be too hard to prevent to kill that. He can't really. I mean, he's going to try to get these hatches up again, but still no hype. He has to know these 3-3 upgrades are coming out as well.
Yep. Burrow on the way just because maybe he can get some lucky Baneling hits, you know. Look at this. I mean, this is a lot of Banelings wasted here. There comes another drop. Let's hope True doesn't 1A his whole army over here to defend this, because if he does, he's going to lose the hatchery down here to the south. And against this big fantasy army, I mean, this is just a bit sloppy. A huge counterattack here, meanwhile, though, forcing a lift. He's going to kill a few of the SCVs. But his economy is massively affected by this. He's lost so many hatcheries. He keeps losing both bases. Remaxing with 80 Zerglings here. He's got a huge bank, but he doesn't have the Infestation Pit to use that gas bank for Hive units, for Infestors. And Fantasy himself has built a huge bank. This base over here could be killed with a target on those Banelings, but it's going to cost him a lot of gas. Luckily for him, he's got a huge bank in it.
Yeah, he is able to take out that fourth after stopping mining at that third, which is decent for him. He might finally get a fourth base of his own up. And after a bunch of these mistakes that he's made, he needs to continue to do stuff like this.
Huge group of mutas coming over here now to the natural, where there's only one missile turret. He even contaminates that contaminates that CC. There's nothing over here. Fantasy coming back with his Thors now. But this is a massive amount of damage done as well. Luckily for Fantasy, he's got a bank, and he's Terran. So losing a few SCVs here and there for him in the long run of things might be telling him, well, I'm going to have a bigger army size later. One Thor actually in the medevac to try to chase. Only going to get, looks like, one Mutalisk there. The rest of the units will escape. But Fantasy needs to retake a fourth and start getting aggressive on the map. He doesn't want to give True that chance to catch up with the bases that he lost, to rebuild those. And this trap that he set up was not successful. And in fact, since he's spotted, True might be able to eliminate some of those Marines with this army that's coming across the ground. He is literally stuck. True is stuck on Muta Bane. He doesn't have to be. He could try to transition. He could have a lot easier before. Now he's in a less comfortable place to transition out of this, but he's kind of stuck right now, and he's just keeping on producing with all the gas he has, Banelings, and he knows his mineral bank isn't that high, but I feel like he could start to transition. He could get some Infestors out and go into that Hive Tech so he can get the 3-3, because 3-3 against 2-2, not the place you want to be.
It feels like he's a bit scared. I mean, he's just desperately trying to get these bases up. He finally is able to do it with that Muta aggression. He's able to take it to the base. He's going to go for another counterattack over here, but Fantasy is ready for this.
It's all about these Baneling connects. How good are they going to be? Fantasy needs to split, and split he does. Thor's at the front to tank. Baneling's not really connecting. The Mutalisk, on the other hand, fighting against Thor's. Not what he wants. He can magic box him when there's no Marines, but when there's Marines there, there's a big problem. Hellbat's over here with some Thors, as well as this massive 3-3 Marine force. And it's all about the engagement here. Hellbat's the tank, going to take out most of the Zerglings. The split here for Fantasy is excellent. Hatchery finishes, which means it cannot be canceled. And things are not looking good for True. Great splitting here by Fantasy. The Banelings are gone, which means the Mutas need to get out of here. He even pulls the Thor that was magic box away from the Mutas. And he will get cleaned up, but the hatchery gets taken out.
Hatchery goes down again. At least that fourth is up, but remaxing again, like you mentioned before, just with Lings, Banelings, and Mutas. He has nothing else. No tech is coming out.
Nope, no tech at all. He is going to clean up this whole army now. In fact, he may even get some of these medevacs. Gets one, gets two. Can he get three? Not with the boosters. Gets actually the third one that was at the south. Thor's coming over here, though, and he's got to be careful. Does not want to get intercepted. Sees that this base that's been taken for Fantasy, his fourth, is not mining. So he can rest easy on that. And Fantasy is down to 36 Harvesters. So when it comes to economy, he's trying to starve him out here a little bit. This game is not over by any means. It's just that it's crazy that True has been able to get so much done by this aggressive composition. He's never moving forward with his tech. He's just always saying, why would I? Because I'm doing so well with what I have right now.
Yeah. It's so funny. I just wish Fantasy would be able to hold this off a little bit better. I mean, we saw before only 33 Harvesters. Now he's basically at maybe 20. I mean, he has all these mules, yes, but I mean, he still has to keep these up. He has to have some SCVs in his comp. True, doing a decent job over here. I wish he would take those gases as well. At least right now, he doesn't need the gas because he's not really teching besides this. He's just continuing to stay aggressive, and Fantasy's not handling it too well.
No, he's not. If you're maxed out with Army, and you have 29 Harvesters, or if you have 180 supply, if you have a larger army than what Fantasy has right now, like even 25 to 30% larger, your Harvester counts as low. You're like, it's okay. I have the better army. I've got great upgrades. I'm going to be fine. But if you are having no map control, you're not harassing at all, you can't pressure, and you're sitting back like a dog with its tail between its legs, defending one base, the one hope that you have, and the Zerg controls the map and he's retaking his bases, that's the scary place to be as a Terran, even with being ahead in upgrades. The Mulas come over here, Fantasy's not here, he's at his 4th base, meaning he's going to lose the few SCVs he has mining over here. Yep. He's trying to get his SCV count back up.
He's trying desperately. At least he's getting it back up to 50. He doesn't have much gas, though, and look at how many banelings are being morphed right now.
40.
That's 40.
And he's just going to try to right-click this planetary, the 9 o'clock base. If he kills that, Fantasy's economy goes to 0. 53 banelings in total being morphed.
This is so crazy. He's continuing to take hatcheries as well, and still no infestors, no swarm hosts, no hive, no nothing. He's just continuing to be aggressive.
This is what I like to call the Peter Pan Zerg. He's never going to grow up, man. He's never going to grow up. This is a Peter Pan Zerg style, and he doesn't need that hive tech. He's just going to be a kid forever. And it doesn't matter if he can actually keep Fantasy's economy low. The thing is, he's building a bank now. With all those hatcheries he's taken, he's got a lot of larvae, but Fantasy has maxed. If he can kill Fantasy's army once, or run around it, and kill the economy again, he still has a decent chance in this game. He's setting up a few traps here with his banelings. Fantasy's going for the counterattack. This is going to force a reaction. So many banelings here. Oh my god, Thor's at the front to take. This is so many banelings, Brennan. Here we go. And Fantasy, it doesn't matter how good he splits. There's just way too many banelings for him to handle. And now this planetary is exposed. And here comes True, the bio on the low ground, forcing him back. But look at the supply drop like crazy for True. That's so much gas. He spent minerals as well. He's going to need more time. Fantasy takes a supply lead, keeps some of his army alive. He's still continuing to make Thors. He knows that the Mutalisks are really the only high-tech unit he's up against. If you can call Mutas a high-tech unit, 10 more Mutas coming out, 10 more Banelings. It's the Peter Pan Zerg.
True, deciding to spend most of what he had on those Mutas, making 10 more, and those Banes as well, continuing to just make only Zerglings with his minerals.
This inability to tech the hive, to get Brewlords out, to get Infestors out, may be his downfall. We've seen players like Hyun be massively ahead in games and then start to lose control because of this one composition that's just totally I mean, it's Muna milling Baneling, and moving beyond that would help him out a lot, but it's just the upgrades that work against him, 3-3 against 2-2. And the fact that if a Terran player is good at splitting and has a better concave, he's got his defense set up, you're never going to trade better against him. Drop comes over here to deny mining over the top right, but it will be cleaned up. And he's not going to get that hatch.
No, he's not. He's going to try. He's going to have to fly away here, getting the bulk of this out here. And look at the supplies. True doing a decent job ahead for now, but now Fantasy trying to move out towards the space, doesn't want to let this mining continue.
Fantasy's army is getting stronger and stronger, Brendan. He's getting more Thors. He's starting to remax with Marauders instead of Marines. And here we go. Banelings coming on the right side. The Banelings are already gone. That means the Banelings on the left are going to be defended so easily. He picks up his Marines even, but the Mutas on the right side, does he have enough anti-air? That one Thor, a few more Marines in the medevac. That's the question. Does he have enough? He actually lifts all of his units in the medevacs and runs away. He's a bit panicked here. Oh, that was scary. I didn't realize he had another, third wave of Banelings to come through.
And he's morphing even more right now. Look at this. The Banelings coming in again. He wants to kill even more SCVs. And the Mutas to follow up. There's not much anti-air here besides this Thor and these Marines. Is it enough? That's the question. With the Banelings on the ground, it looks like it's going to be not enough with the Marines that are coming over further right. He does not want to lose any of these Mutas. He's losing too many.
He's losing way too many Mutas here, Brennan, and now he's down to 9 Mutas. 9 Mutas, that's all he's got left. 9 Mutas and 24 Banelings, and his bedside Peter Pan story, because there's no hive, there's no bank, and Fantasy has 2 mining bases. He has an insane mineral income. He has the ability to remax some Marauders, add a few more Thors, could even start to add more Widow Mines in now if he wants to. And True is painted himself into a corner. He can't do that anymore. There's never going to be another engagement where he has 75 plus Banelings, where he can come in from 3 sides with his Banelings and hope to trade. That phase of this game is over.
But it doesn't seem like he wants to do anything about it.
He can't transition out. Now he's stuck.
Yeah.
Now
knows.
he can never come out.
He's been stuck for a while. I mean, there was a time where he had a bank and he was at 200-200, but he was just too scared to do it. But now he actually doesn't even have a chance to do it.
All right, he needs this engagement to go really well for him. He's going to pick off these Marines for free. That base over there at the top right will be secured. This next engagement for him is so critical. He's down on upgrades. He's down in supply. Fantasy is set up, ready to defend. He keeps adding Thors in because the Thors will tank so many Banelings if the Banelings accidentally run into them. And they just do so much to the Mutas as well. One thing Fantasy could actually do is continue to upgrade his Thors, something he's neglected a little bit here. That could definitely give him a little bit of an edge, just to do more damage to the Mutas.
Yeah, anything right now. I mean, he does have that 4-base economy decently here.
All
this
right,
army.
Here we go! So many Banelings again. Thors at the back need to target Emilus, and they do. The Planetary on the right side doing so much damage to that Zerg army. He picks up in the Minivacs, runs the Thors away. Here comes the rest of the bio. He's trading his Banelings against the Planetary, but that's so expensive for him to do. And this means Fantasy has a great opportunity for a counterattack. And he needs to go very soon. He needs to start taking these bases one by one off of the map. He needs to not run into this Baneling trap. Scans go down, losing only a few Marines, and Fantasy is on the move. His 3-3 army is so solid right now because he knows his opponent has very little Banelings and he must not have very much gas. True cannot engage this. He wants to save this base, but he cannot.
He can't. He just doesn't have enough units right now. And Fantasy, with this hugely upgraded army, he just continues with this really strong economy to make this army over and over and over again. He scanned at the main base of True. He sees there's no hive. There's no gas even right now. 0 gas.
Yep. 0 gas income. He has no gas coming in. That means Zerglings are his only tool. And if Fantasy moves out across the map and attacks into him, realizing this, knowing you have no gas and you have no Banelings, he could just end the game. The Fantasy's playing it safe. He resecures his 4th base, actually moving his natural, not even remaking a command center. This is a bit of a scrappy game for both of them. But Fantasy, once he maxes out, he's going to start moving out. And, I mean, every 25 gas that's mined goes to Banelings because there's no hive. There's no infestors, and he has enough mutas making Mutalisks. I mean, he makes 1. This base is gone.
He makes the 1 Mutalist in this desperate hope that he can actually build him up again, but even the small Marine army able to come over here and pick out this Queen.
Yep, scanning, clearing tumors. He doesn't even need to use all of his mules. Another scan goes down, and Fantasy moving across here. I think he's starting to realize, wait a minute, you just don't really have any Banelings anymore.
He's got to realize this now. Look at this. Look at all of these Zerglings. This is all he has.
And he's got so many that he might be able to overwhelm a small army. We'll see. Oh my god, I want to see the Zergling count. That's what I really want to see. I think he's got probably 140 or so Zerglings on the map. Maybe 120 is a more reasonable estimate.
Well, you see that giant red blob in the middle, and you got to assume something similar. Making 5 Mutalisks now. He wants to build up that Mutalisk count still.
18 more Zerglings, that's all he can make. Every chunk of gas goes into Mutas. I think what he's hoping for is to literally just overwhelm this army. 154 Zerglings on the map right now, only 52 drones. He's making a few more Banelings as well here. He's running out of time.
The funny thing, though, is that Fantasy just doesn't... He's playing so safe. Like, he's literally just still dropping at these outside hatcheries when he could possibly make a move across the map. Here the Zerglings come. No, they want to back off.
I think Fantasy's probably thinking to himself, I just need to add more Hellbats. This is basically a pure Zergling force I'm coming up against this base again. No cancel this time, and he cannot afford to be not canceling right now. Zergling force running in. This is an orbital and not a planetary, something that True does know. He will be able to kill his base. Fantasy goes for the counterattack. He's going to now finally force True to engage him. Hellbats here with Blue Flame doing a decent amount of damage to those Zerglings. Does True have enough? He's going to be able to kill this one army of Fantasy. Fantasy's army is split in 2. It's literally cut in half right now. And one of it is killing bases. The other part of it deals with the Zerg army that's basically 150 Zerglings. Mutalisks coming over here as well. And True, can he make this composition work?
He's trying so desperately. He's going to have to bring his army back to defend all of these different drops. He lost his hatchery down there at the south as well.
Oh, 25 hit points left on this hatch. He saves it. He saves it, but there's no gas here anyways. It's only a larva producing structure at this point. Oh, Brandon, this game has been so tense, so back and forth, and Fantasy not making anything on the production tab right now. He's a bit gas-starved. He'd like to take some more refineries. Losing this base really hurt him because that's where he was mining his gas. And the question is, can True... I mean, I'm speechless that he's actually been able to make this composition work so long with so many Zerlings. I think Fantasy might be underestimating this force a little bit. Now he's got his whole army together, though. And with his whole army together, with the upgrades he has, I don't think True can make this work.
I think he's realizing now there's just too many Zerglings. He has to be all together. He cannot be like this. He's split. Here comes the attack. The Mutas magic boxing. Are there enough Baneblades to come in here? So many Zerglings on the ground as well.
It just doesn't look like it's enough, but he's trying to go for it. Magic box on the Thor. So many Zerglings on the ground. Can True do this? Can he do it? Oh my God! Zerglings coming through. He kills Fantasy's army. Oh my God! He's won it. He's gonna push through and force a lift on this command center. More bio coming out though. He needs those Baileys to connect. Feelers in the air. Way too much here for the Zerg. Fantasy down to 49 supply. I cannot believe it, but the game is not over yet. Fantasy making a few medevacs right now. He hides in a bunker. 58 supply to 39 at 40 minutes. What am I watching? This command center tugging its tail and running. He needs to put those Marines in the bunker to protect it.
He can't lose that now. He needs that one orbital command right now. And you can see on the map that even True doesn't have anything to mine right now. He needs to start mining in that fourth all the way up there. That's his last open. You see basically the only patches that Fantasy is mining right now.
This map is not a good map for Fantasy anymore. True has a fully saturated mineral base to mine from and produce only Zerlings because he has enough mutas. If he can keep the Marine count low, he has enough mutas to start picking off units. Picks off a medevac here. He can't fight this army. How can Fantasy recover? He needs to resecure that base that has more minerals, but he can't. Actually, in fact, I think he only has one orbital. I think the rest of his base are players. No, he has two. He has the one in the main. He has the one that is natural right now. And okay, and a third one floating. I don't have an observing piece. This is the type of situation where I really need one, so I can tell you guys all the information that I can look up.
Yeah.
So
he's going to move this over here. He needs has to defend this.
If he can defend it, he might have a chance of coming back in this game. He's got two Widow Mines here as well. A great choice because Widow Mines are going to be great against anything that True throws at him. Zerlings, Banelings, Mutas, any of it.
Somehow we're building this game back up again. These guys just can't attack into each other. They're going to stay back for now.
I really like True's chances, though. And, oh my God, a pause! Here's Fantasy's last base. Drops every mule he can here. And here comes the aggressive move out by True.
True is moving out right now. He doesn't want to lose too much.
He's up in supply. These Widow Mines are so critical right now. Consider the Fantasy army is much bigger than the supply show. He goes to both sides. The Fantasy's under attack right away here. And those two Widow Mines never coming to play.
They're too far away. Those Bailey's got to connect. They fly away in the medevacs, and those Widow Mines, they could get a good shot on the Mulist.
He does get a few shots off, but it's not enough. The Mulists go down, but the rest of the Marines are gone now, and Zerlings are going to eliminate the last mining of Fantasy. And Fantasy may be down and out here. A few more Stim Marines coming over to fight. He may even want to fight with some of those SCVs because this is everything for him right now. And all the Banelings are gone. That's a lot of gas spent. That's a lot of resources spent here. He also lost those Mutalists. 0 Mutalists left. 12 Larva right now. 11 Harvesters to 34. But when both players are on one mining base, the Harvester count doesn't matter as much. And he uses the Banelings, actually, to eliminate those Widow Mines.
Yeah, and so smart burrowing that Zergling as well to delay just as much as possible on that orbital command. Doesn't want anything. He's going to attack him from both sides. Could he surround these Marines?
Marines getting picked up, but 4 of them will not make it home. And this command center cannot be landed. And the Fantasy cannot mine. He cannot win this game. Way too many speed Zerglings here. I think Fantasy might be checkmated. There's nowhere he can land. There's nothing he can do. One Mutalist is actually going to kill this medevac. He's going to have to land his Marines to save it. He will have to kill the Mutalist and fly away. Burrowed Zerling planted there again. He has to use more scans. He has a tiny bit of mining, 2 mineral patches, with a sum total of about 500 minerals between the two of them over on the left side of the map. But that's not going to be enough, and he's only mining from 2 patches, meaning that his income is very, very low. I really would like to see bunkers, but he just can't afford it. He cannot afford it, and here come the rest of those Banelings. The Kree commentators are standing up and going crazy. The fans tense as well, and here come those Banelings. This could be the end of Fantasy. He has to lift up those Marines. He's trying to trade as best as he can before he does so. And now at half the supply of True. Marines coming over here for some harass. Banelings exploding on the command center. Does not want that. Does not want to waste those units. And here comes the one mining base of True trying to get some harassment done. Will could have some of these Zerglings. He's going to have to pick up into his medevac and get out of here, though, and hoping. He's praying there's no Mutalist nearby. Only one Mutalist still on the map to chase down that medevac. There it is.
That one Mutalist is so key, and now burrowing that Zergling is going to be such a pain as well. This Mutalisk is going to try to find this one. He drops. This
12
is
hit
going to
points
go
on
down.
the medevac! 12 hit points, he kills the Mutalisk, saves that medevac. But again, Fantasy, only 20 Marines left in the game with 8 Banelings, 42 Zerglings. This is going to be it. We're going to watch him die here. True said no hive. He said, I have unlimited pixie dust. And he comes in here. The Marines are trapped, but he can target down Banelings. Really nicely done here by Fantasy. But again, the income problem that he has is not going to disappear. It's not going away.
It's not going away, and making a couple more Mutalisks as well. He's going to send these Zerglings here, and they could start to do a bunch of damage over here as well as keeping a bunch of those units over here to keep him cornered.
Fantasy tries to fight here on creep. He scans to eliminate some of it. He will have to lift up into those medevacs to get away. 1 medevac, 12 hit points still. And he turns and fights. He's targeting those Banelings. His micro here is insane, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Brendan. There's way too many Zerglings here. Banelings being targeted. He loses the medevac. The rest of the Zerglings come back, and they're looking next. And Fantasy is done. Fantasy is done. 3 supplies, 3 SCVs left. The orbital will fall. And True from JINAIR Green Wings will put his team into a 2-1 lead. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. GG!
Oh my God.
True, just incredible resilience, using a composition for the entire game, never going to hive, never growing older. And what True has done is he's showing his logo, he's saying, JINAIR Green Wings, we've got this. He took Star Station and he turned it into Never Never Land.
And guys, that was only the 3rd game. It's not over yet. That one game that took 50 minutes, so back and forth. True, a crazy style, Peter Pan style, all over Fantasy. Just only now took the 2nd win for JINAIR Green Wings. We could even have this go to an ace match. Next up is going to be Rogue versus Classic.
Whoa. All right, 2-1 for JINAIR.